Hey, it's Frank here with 4D Honeybee, and it's extraction time. Look at the bearding activity on this hive. So active. The other two hives, not so active. It's really been the story of my year 2 of beekeeping. One hive just doing incredibly well. The other hive's not doing so well. Now I'm extracting the top 2 honey supers here, so these 2 boxes. I've got this bee escape here that should have translated into sending bees down below, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. There's a lot of bees in the escape has only been on for the better part of 30 hours, so yeah, there are a lot of bees up here. So I'm going to try and smoke this top layer of bees away. Unfortunately, it's going to mean a lot of smoke to these bees, but it's the only way I know to move them without shaking them off, which I'm going to have to probably end up doing as well. I've got a brush, so I'll brush them as well, but there's just a lot of bees out there. Alright, here we go. Taking a look for the queen on the lid, and she really shouldn't be able to be up here at all. There's an escape on after all, so she shouldn't be able to escape, but we'll see. There's lots of bees in there. Just give them a puff of smoke and the activity just goes through the roof. They start buzzing. They start fanning to try to clean the smoke out, and that means there's a lot of bees in there. But gotta take these supers today because things are gonna cool down, and I prefer to process the honey while it's warm. Makes it a lot easier. You can see how they've built up the comb right to the top here. There's a lot of honey in there, I can see and tell. And there's a lot of bees there too, so I'm going to have to shake all these bees off these frames, and hopefully they will cooperate. One thing I didn't do today, which I'm very upset about, is that I did not bring an empty box to put these frames in. So I'm going to have to empty each one of these boxes. I'm going to have to take the frames, get the bees off them, get the frames in a couple of bags that I have here. Cover up the bags because the bees will try to get to them, right? And then, it's not the best system that I have here today, unfortunately. There's one thing that I forgot. Alright, so let's see how they've done. This super on the outside, or on the top, I installed probably in July. And this is the outside frame, which is just starting to be capped. But again, I got to get all these bees off. So I'm just going to do some brushing to start and hope it goes well. And there's enough bees that I'm not going to shake them just yet, because I want to have as few bees in the air as possible. So I'm figuring that brushing them is probably the best bet. You can see I am using a bee brush, which I didn't use the entire first year until this point of the season when I required to brush them off to get them off the frames. So do the best I can, then I'll put them in this bag and hopefully cover up the bag so that they don't continue to find these frames. So that frame, I'll test when I'm home to see if that frame, if the honey is actually usable or not. Again, I'm going to use a little more smoke than usual this time, and the reason why is just that, like I said before, they were very active and not happy at all about my presence here the other day. So I just want to make sure I reduce their amount of activity, because I've got to take 2 supers worth of frames here. And this one's beautiful. Look at this. Okay, this side is just starting to be capped, but this side is almost 100% capped. Just a beautiful heavy frame. Now, I've been saying all along, if you've been watching these videos, that I've gone with 9 frames in the box instead of a 10 frames. It's a 10 frame box, but I only put 9 in. And I put 9 in so that they would draw the comb out much wider than the actual frame itself, because I don't use a knife. You see how it is drawn pretty wide. I don't use a knife, I use a roller. So getting the bees to extract comb beyond the frames means that I get more honey per unit frame and a more efficient harvest, right? And if you want to do it, that's fine. I recommend it. It's worked really well for me. I will say though that you should probably start off with 10 frames in it until they start to draw out, because if not, they might make a mess with bridge comb and burr comb all over the place. Oh, another stupendous frame here of honey. You see that? Now on this side, no, it's honey. Like on this side, a few days ago, you see at the bottom there, they'd put some brood in, but I removed them, and they finished removing them, and they capped it off with honey. So that was really good. So again, I'm just brushing them, partly because my wrist is still sore from their stinging me last time, but mostly because I'm just trying to take it easy and keep the number of flights in the air, or number of bees in the air, down. Alright, those first few frames, the first 3 frames are amazing, and I think the next 3 are going to even be better. And on these frames, you'll really start to see how wide they've drawn the comb out. Take a look. Look at how much wider than the actual frame the comb is, right? And this frame, normally on a medium super like this, a frame full of honey might weigh 4 or 5 pounds, maybe 6. These frames have got to be 10 pounds. I'm going to weigh them when I get home. But there is a lot of honey in here. It's hard to hold these with one hand. So I'm very happy about that to this point. I mean, it's not, the book isn't closed on it yet, but so far it looks like I won't be going back to 10 frames in a super anytime soon. Okay, going on the next couple of frames, which are probably going to be the best frames. I'm going to show you the next couple of frames, and then I'll pause the video just so that it's not too long. I'll restart the video when I get into the next honey super down. Get out the way. There you go. Wow, another very heavy frame. Just chocker block. Full of capped honey and thick. Look at how thick this is. Right? You can see by my muscle shaking that there's a decent amount of weight here that I'm having to lift off. And that weight is all honey. Well, there's some wax, I guess, too. Frame weighs less than 2 pounds. Frame weighs barely over 1 pound. So what we're lifting here is 100% wildflower honey. No feeding. I've not fed this hive at all this year. And I haven't, simply because I haven't needed to. It's just done absolute gangbusters since day 1. So I'll show you the next frame, and then I'll pause the video for a bit and continue this harvest, okay? It's really hot out here. I'm trying to work patiently but quickly because I don't want these bees getting too upset. Here's the next frame. Another amazing frame. Not drawn out. You can see the different sort of layer of capping here. It's just because they just probably capped this at a later date than the stuff on top. But it is beautiful. Same thing here. It's absolutely wonderful though. I think this is going to be for one hive, and a first year hive at that, right? Brought in from a nuke. You know, this is going to give me between 35 and 50 pounds of honey. So that is very, very satisfying. I don't sell the honey. I just consume it and basically give it to them. Okay, we've got 6 frames down. I'm just going to shut down the camera for a bit and I'll have you rejoin me in the second box, okay?